Hello everybody, it's the Alco Diesel Guy with another project for you. In this case, I'm going to be installing DCC in this Atlas GP7. And it's no ordinary GP7, this is the most recent run of the GP7. It is sound ready, which means there is no decoder on board. It is strictly an analog locomotive. Anyway, today we're going to install a DCC decoder in this unit. Now, I don't know if you've seen it yet, I don't know what production order I have on this, but I did try to do this with an Alco FA that was just quote-unquote DCC ready, and it didn't go very well, to put it mildly. That said, hopefully this will go better, and I think it will, because I have done this before, I should say. I'll be perfectly honest, and it actually is a pretty simple install, much easier than one would think. Anyway, without any further ado, let me get in here, pop it open. This engine has never been out of its box. I didn't quite pay, I'm ashamed to admit, I actually paid more than what the price said on the side of the box there, as it turns out. Had I seen that when I initially got it, I probably would have lost it, but yeah. Anywho, water under the bridge. Oh, note on these, do not pull on the trucks. I just made a common mistake. I'm testing you there, folks. Never pull on the trucks on the modern run of the Atlas sound equipped units. This most recent run, do instead, I'm going to gently try to pry this loose. I'm going to end up pulling that off. Let me move my box over here out of the way and wrestle this shell off carefully. There we go. Worked. I got it free. Almost off, a little bit more, and there she is. Okay, here we are underneath the hood, and the truck is still out. Oh, I hope I didn't damage this. It's back in. Okay. Darn thing. Okay, so this is the project. Pardon me for using the word okay a million times on this video so far. This is the actual place where the project is mainly going to take place. Ooh, got grease on my hands. I'm going to have to self-clean hands, wash hands before I put this back together. This is the actual board, I should say, in here. As you can see, it has 2 screws on here. Let me actually get you in a little bit deeper. Bit of 3. See, we have 2 screws on here holding the board together. We're going to yank these 2 off. This, again, is the new type decoder, I should mention. This is an e24 style socket. My apologies for those who saw my review on these engines. I thought it was actually a type... Next 18, I believe that is. It's not. It's actually an E24, which is a special standard, and I believe only that's actually Lokesound developed itself. I'm going to actually need a super small screwdriver. Forgot about that. There we go. This, I think, will just be small enough to get away with it. There we go. And the E24 decoder is unusual in the fact that it has more passageways than or more paths, I should say, more circuits in it, more data lines, I should say, than the Next 18. It's unique as Lokesound, ESU Lokesound, or rather, pardon me, ESU, I should say, came up with it. And I will say this is a much better running model in terms of its sound, in terms of its electronics, than that of the Atlas FA. Again, this is an N-scale engine. Just turn this heavily. And it just literally, that is cool. And there we go. So now I have the board off. Now, to get the decoder off this unit, we just pick it up and flip it over. And here is the item we want to deal with. That is the E24 dummy plug. We're going to remove that and replace it with the decoder. The decoder is right from the horse's mouth, if you will. Let me make sure this is the right one. Here's the E24 board here itself. That's the part number. It's a Loke Pilot decoder, so we're only putting DCC in here. It's a 59. It's $599.25. Going to go ahead now and pop this out of here. Get it ready. And that's the board right there underneath that piece of very professionally installed Scotch tape, which I will call it because that was done by a professional, and so I'm assuming it was professionally installed. All that said, I'm joking on that one, pardon me. Anywho, I'm going to go now and pull my dummy board off. This just simply pops right off. There it is, dummy board gone. We take our ECS board and put it back in the same way that one came off. ESU board, ECS, I don't know why I'm saying that. That's an old company that made decoders back in the day. Here's the actual socket of the board. We're going to line it up and put it in place here. It goes right there. It goes in this direction right there. Set up so that you can only put it in one way so you don't have to worry about a short. This board is actually quite large for a DCC ready board. I think there have been some revisions on it. I'm told this is fine. I've done one with ESU already, so it should be fine. Just going to now carefully place this inside the slot. There it is. Now it's in. Snapped it in place. There we go. And just like that, I've now snapped it in. A little wrestling there to get it in place, but it's good. We can also see the mechanics underneath the hood before I put it together. See, those are the two screw holes. It's nicely isolated. There are no, unlike the other engine I was working on where it had those contacts you had to hook up to the frame, which is what I think was causing the issues there, and the naked wires. None of that is here. These wires are all sheaved. There is nothing that's going to make contact with the frame as it's been designed to hold it, because it's been designed so that the actual PCB is high enough above the standard frame that it won't cause a problem. Much better design overall. So anyway, we're going to put this back in. This is the actual way it goes. The decoder's on the bottom. I'm going to go grab my 2 screws. Got my first screw. I'm going to go now and put this in the first hole, which is right up here. 2 holes again, one on the top, one on the bottom, in a diagonal direction. Pardon my massive screwdriver. That's the only one I have that will fit this. You know how tiny these things are. I'm going to have to look for really, really micro screwdrivers. I'm just going to put this almost tight so I can have room to fit the other one. So I can move this board a little bit. Let's get the other screw. Try not to whack you, but I may. Okay, I got to be very careful here. I don't want to knock the screw into oblivion, which it's going to, it looks like. Another advantage I think of that little parts thing is that it will magnetize the screws, so it'll make it so that the screw will be much easier to deal with, or further enhance the magnetism of your screws or parts you're working with. So if you're trying to work with a screw, it will enhance that and make sure it stays on the point of your screwdriver much more effectively. There we go. That's going in there pretty nicely. Go over here. I go back up here now and work on this one. Get this one nice and tight. And with that, that should be it. What I'm going to do now is place this on the test track, and hopefully we do not have a shower of sparks or Bowerworks German cursing, English cursing, etc. But we'll find out in a second. Let's go ahead now and slip this in here. No shorts yet, and that's because the power is not on. That tends to help a lot if you want to test something. See here, I have that off. I'm going to go grab my controller, which for some reason lately has been coming on full blast on address 3. Okay, it's coming on. Oh, it's moving immediately, but the throttle was set. See light. There we go. I got a light. Oh, it might help if I actually got you in here. Pardon me, folks. Okay, so you see I've turned my DCC system on. We do have a light, which is good news. Though it just cut out on me, which is not so good. There it goes. I have a loose connection up here someplace. I'm going to have to look at that. There it goes. Runs backwards. And it would help if I got rid of that, wouldn't it? Goes forward. Very smooth runner, I got to tell you. It's just stunning to see that this came out not long after the FA did, and what the difference is in terms of quality with these engines from Atlas. There we go. Headlights working again out in the wide. Didn't work initially. There it is. This, again, DCC system's been kind of pokey lately. Hopefully this is not on its way out, but I wouldn't be surprised. Really great runner. This is how an Atlas engine should run, by the way. That Alco FA I got that I managed to get running, which I ended up having to swap the chassis on, ran terribly. It ran like a dying cow. It really was horrible. Or a dying cat. This thing, just smooth. Oh. I gotta remind myself, these engines have momentum built into them. You throttle up and it won't respond immediately. You have to give it a few seconds. That's why I'm not getting the responsiveness I'm used to here. There we go, headlight again. So it does work. Again, just remember on these things, it always gives momentum. I don't know what the obsession is with it. It just does not. It does that. It's built into these things that it does not accelerate at full speed. You'll hit 0 and it won't stop immediately. Just how they are. Though I do know that for some reason the headlight here seems a little pokey to respond. And with the reverse headlight, that's a weird quirk where the headlight just goes off like that. I think the track on that end might be a little dirty. That could have been it too. Let's change directions again, or a bad connection. There it is. Now it's working. Yeah, I think the track on the back of my test over here is not so great. Kind of rough running, but running initially. But I remember correctly, the other one I had was rough running too until it broke in. As it runs, it gets better. I noticed with these engines, this newest batch with GP97s, they tend to run a little rough at first, but if you break them and just let them run, they tend to, whatever reason, get better at running. So I'm thinking this is a lot of the contacts just getting lubricated and sort of purposed and getting used to working together. But anywho, I'm going to call that a success. I'm going to drop the shell on top of the frame right now so I don't lose it. And so it actually looks the way it should. Let me go take this right off. I can remember which side goes where on this now. It's not as common as an Cool. The Alcos, it's really kind of hard to tell which side is which and which is which and who is who. Ah, there it is. It's in place. That was easy enough. And I think I remember what I did with where did I put the fuel tank on this thing? Seriously, folks? But seriously, folks. Ah, right in the box where it belongs. Slip that right underneath here. I know it can go back on this way because it came off that way. Ended up getting this off before I got the shell off. There it is. And with that, I think I have this done. Let me test it one last time. Hopefully we don't get any fireworks. Shouldn't. I don't see why. Both trucks are giving power. And after a few runs, it's much better. Minor bloopers with this one. Not a big deal. Oop. Was off the track. That tends to help if you put it on the track first, note to self. Oh yeah, it's really good. I'm holding it now because it's just too fast. And I keep forgetting that these ESU decoders have the momentum built into them, so as a result, they want to keep you throttle it up, and it doesn't just go at that speed. It'll just keep accelerating until it reaches a desired speed that it's pre-programmed for. A little bit of gear rattle, but gear growl, but that'll go away as the system runs. Okay, so I'm going to call that a success. Really good running engine. Going to put this in storage now. I'm not going to use it just yet. Nonetheless, I did complete it. And no locomotives were harmed in the production of this video. Though there was one that was upgraded successfully, which is actually very good news. Let me just actually move this railing, which looks like it got bent a little bit there. And this is bent up, but it looks like that's actually been the factory like that. I don't know why. Oh, I see the cab is up. Ooh, the cab came up. That's not so great, is it? That is not great at all. Maybe I have this on backwards after all. Ah, there it is. It's back in, I hope. There it is. It's in. That works. Okay. And so I'm going to call it a success. So it did come together. It runs beautifully. Very happy with this. Like the rest of these GP97 models, this is a great locomotive. And again, they use the e24 decoder. A little tricky to come by right now, though I noticed now Digitrax is getting into the act, so it should start getting better with these parts. Bottom line, this has definitely got my seal of approval. It's a great locomotive, especially if you're into that mid sort of centuries Jeep sort of locomotives, or if you're willing to do some detailing. They can run fine in the 90s or even 2000s, and even currently out, as there's still quite a few of these in service these days, for what their age is at least. That's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Please like and subscribe, and as always, keep the metal side down.